Good day, and welcome to another episode of What's Happening Today, presented to you by Rapido News Network. In this episode, we will start by giving updates on the arrest of Mr. Frank James, a man who opened fire on a moving Manhattan-bound N train in Brooklyn on the morning rush hours of April 12th. We will then move on to the French presidential election. Post that, we will talk about the avian flu, which is spreading amongst birds across the country. And finally, we will talk about the ongoing Russian Ukrainian conflict. So let's get started. In our first story from New York City, Mr. Frank James, the man accused of bringing terror to the New York City transport system on April 12th, was arrested without incident in Manhattan's East Village on Wednesday afternoon after he reportedly called Crime Stopper himself to tell police he was at a nearby McDonald's. He made a brief appearance at a federal courthouse in Brooklyn on Thursday, just under 24 hours after he was arrested in Manhattan's East Village. U.S. Magistrate Judge Ron Mann ordered Mr. James to be held in federal custody without bail and undergo a psychiatric evaluation. Now, on our next story on the French presidential election, the number of voters still undecided between two major candidates, that is Macron and Le Pen, is quite high. When those undecided voters finally make up their minds, their decision could turn a narrow Macron win to a comfortable triumph, or they could move in Le Pen's direction to give the right-wing populists a victory. Entering the final week of campaigning, neither candidate can take anything for granted. Now, on our next story on bird flu, the price of eggs has soared in recent weeks, in part because of a huge bird flu wave that has infected nearly 27 million chickens and turkeys in the United States, forcing many farmers to depopulate or destroy their animals to prevent a further spread. On Friday, the US Department of Agriculture announced yet another outbreak, this one in two flocks in Idaho, making it the 27th state in which the virus has been found since February. According to the USDA, the price of dozen eggs in November hovered around $1. Right now, that price is $2.95 and is continuously rising. Grady Ferguson, who is a senior research analyst for Grow Intelligence, an agriculture data platform, says that so far about 1.3% of all US chickens have been affected by this outbreak. Now on to our final story in the Russian Ukrainian conflict. The port city of Mariupol was on the cusp of falling on Sunday, which would give Russia its biggest victory since it invaded Ukraine nearly 2 months ago. According to the state news agency TASS, Major General Igor Konashenkov, a Russian Defense Ministry spokesman, said on Saturday that its forces had surrounded a remaining group of Ukrainian fighters who were held up in a Mariupol steel plant. The only chance to save their lives is to voluntarily lay down their arms and surrender. On the economic front, Russian default is looming. A bitter fight is likely to follow. Russia is ambling towards a major default on its foreign debt, a grim milestone that it has not seen since the Bolshevik Revolution, more than 1 century ago, and one that raises the prospect of years of legal wrangling and a global hunt by bondholders for Russian assets. The looming default is the result of sanctions that have immobilized about half of Russia's $640 billion of foreign currency reserves, straining the country's ability to make bond repayments in the currency. Grinding for a default, Russia has already preemptively dismissed it as an artificial result of sanctions imposed by the United States and its allies, and it has threatened to contest such an outcome in court. Russian forces accelerated scattered attacks on Kyiv, western Ukraine, and beyond on Saturday in an explosive reminder to Ukrainians and their Western supporters that the whole country remains under threat, despite Moscow's pivot towards mounting a new offensive in the east. Stung by the loss of its Black Sea flagship and indignant over alleged Ukrainian aggression in the Russian territory, Russia's military command had warned of renewed missile strike on Ukraine's capital. Officials in Moscow said that they were targeting military sites. Now, this claim has been repeatedly refuted by witnesses throughout the 52 days of this war. Now, that was all for the major news updates for April 17th. Stay tuned for our next update on the ongoing world affairs. We hope that you find this video useful. If you like this video, hit like. And for a continued update on what's happening around the world, consider subscribing. And to never miss an update whenever we post something new, hit that bell icon. If you have any comments or any suggestions for us, please let us know in the comment sections below. Thank you.